Alright my friends, so before we really jump into this video, I just want to point out the importance of stretching. Now, especially when you are trying to accentuate a specific muscle, really focus your mind-muscle connection and get the most work out of that muscle, you really need to stretch. And what this does is essentially relaxes your body as much as possible, and so you can really feel into that muscle a lot more effectively rather than if you were, dealing with a lot of tension in other areas and kind of trying to balance that on the fly. Now, I'm not going to give you a specific, stretch routine. If you want, I will include some stretches in the description below, but the bottom line here is that you just want to relax as much as possible. So what I recommend that you do is you just take 10 minutes and relax as much as possible through stretching. Obviously, if you are trying to, work the chest, for example, you're going to want to get that relaxation in the upper body as much as you can. But the bottom line, you can, use your intuition and apply this to whatever muscle group that you are trying to get that work in for. So without further ado, let's jump in. Of course, shout out to the plants. Couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Next, we're going to use an object for most of these movements, and I'm using a tee box because for the most part I'm making this video for one of my clients from the UK, and of course I know you guys like tea, and this will make more sense if I use something familiar to you. So we're going to be doing movements that involve pushing pressure between our pecs. Now, what you can see is with this tee box right now, I am pushing my hands together, essentially using the box as an object, and as I'm extending, I am really flexing my pecs as much as I can. Those elbows are staying tight, kind of pushing together, and my upper chest is kind of coming together as much as I can. I don't really know how else to explain this to you guys. If you put the pressure between your hands using the object, and then especially using hand movements of various positions to get that extra accentuation, you're really going to feel a lot of pressure in your pecs. Now, moving on, what I'm going to be doing is just using different hand placements. You can see for the first placement, I'm just angling my hands forward and then bringing them back. So my fingers start pointing up and then they are pointing forward, and then as I'm bringing the object back, they're pointing up again. In the next movement, what I'm doing is almost the same thing, except I'm just rotating the box between 180 degrees and then almost to the other 180 degree position. I mean, it looks almost like it's 360 degrees. And as I'm doing this, you can see that I'm focusing the accentuation again on my pecs. You'll really be able to feel as you start to torque that box over that your pecs are really getting quite a flex out of this. And the more that you torque it in a certain direction, the more that pec should really feel the work. Now, as you do these movements, you'll be able to realize that you can kind of experiment with this as you like as well. And as you're moving, you'll find different positions that really work your pec as effectively as possible. But this is why you stretch first, to really get that relaxation first before you get the flex. And then experiment with different positions, because you'll find, like I said, places that really work your pec better than others. But make sure you keep that pressure up. Make sure that you're experimenting with different hand positions. Next, I'm doing some standing flies. And now what I recommend that you guys do is do this movement, but lying down. That will put a lot more work on the pec. But the bottom line is that as you are moving your arm around, your focus is on your pec, really feeling into your pec and how it's moving. And you'll see as I start to angle my arm in different ways, it's almost like I'm doing curls, but focused on the pec, right? They're flies, but you'll see how I start to do these curl type movements. And as you try these for yourself, you'll realize that just bringing the load around in different positions is going to focus the work on your pec in different ways. There's really no other way to describe this, you guys. I mean, you really just have to do the movements, do them slow, feel into the pec, feel what position is putting the most work on your pec in different areas, and just do repetitions, right? Do as many reps as you want. Do this practice on a consistent basis for whatever muscle groups you're trying to build very specifically. You'll also see now that I'm doing this kind of overhead thing, the same idea, you guys. This is not anything that I knew about beforehand, really. This is just something that as I'm experimenting, as I'm focusing on different areas of my chest, I am finding movements that are going to accentuate that. And then once I find the movement, I'm just going to do it for reps. And then maybe as I'm doing those reps, I'm going to find something else. And I'm kind of following this little rabbit hole of exploration. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that made sense. For those of you that work with me, you know how to apply these movements into your current workouts to get the most effective accentuation of that area, whatever it is that you're trying to work. For those of you that are looking for ways to apply this to really make sure that you are getting that work in those muscles, to really build up those areas that you feel like you have weakness in, you can go to my website, veganstrongfit.com, book a call with me, and we will talk about your current issues and how we can create a bridge to solve those problems. Without further ado though, you guys, I hope this was helpful. I will talk to you soon. Much love. Namaste. Bye-bye.